Alright, welcome back to part 2, the pump installation. Now, if your tank is as dirty as ours, you want to blow it off. You don't want to get no dirt in the tank. But that would just be a bad thing, defeat the purpose of doing this job. You don't want to do it twice. I definitely don't want to do it twice, so loud noises. Alright, we're going to position this tank so you can get a better view of what's going on here. Alright, the next part people consider dangerous. We've got to get this lock ring off. I'm kind of surprised to see that they didn't use the plastic one like the 98s do. So, you got to be a little careful with this. Grab a screwdriver, get ready to knock the ring. You just kind of keep hitting it in a couple spots until it pops off. I only really gave you 2 spots to really hit from, huh? Okay, pop the ring up. Lift the pump. Normally lift the pump. Is she coming up?
Possibly stuck.
There we go. Now she's going to come up with a bucket full of fuel like we're about ready to. I'm going to grab a bucket. I hate fuel spills. It's dangerous. Something unique to the fuel pump modules in these is that the return fuel is dumped right on top of the pump to keep it cool. The bad thing is when you pull it up, you lose about a half a gallon or $50 worth of fuel. Okay, then you're going to have to weasel out the sending unit. Okay, we're going to dump this fuel out.
I hope we can use that fuel, I wish. I need that kind of fuel.
Well, I can filter it and use it for lawnmower gas. Well, there's about 20 bucks worth of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's done.
I don't think I've ever seen one come out like that. Wow. This might be the original. I'm hoping the new one comes with this, because remember fighting out with your Dakota?
Mm-hmm.
I actually had to break the pump to actually get this piece out.
I hated that.
Yeah.
That was so stupid. Thanks, Dodge. Or aftermarket, I should say.
Alright, we gotta do a little bit of housekeeping, get this fuel situation under control. We'll be right back with you. Alright, we're going to use a O'Reilly's Master Pro pump. The sending unit float arm was not in the box attached. You have to do that yourself. Do get this clipped right or your fuel gauge won't work. There we go. So full, empty, full, empty. Now the other weird thing about the Master Pro pump, for those of you who've done fuel pumps in the past, you notice there's usually a screen here. Well, this one must have an internal screen system because of the fact that there's no screen here, no pre-screen. Which I do find that kind of odd. but it's probably built in inside. I mean, this is an aftermarket pump, so I can't expect it to be like the original we just pulled out. But if your gauge isn't working, one thing we've done in the past to verify if we had an issue with just this part, we take a known good pump, you know, or known good sending unit. Say pump was bad or pressure regulator was bad, but sending unit was good. We'd actually hook this up, turn the key on, and see if the gauge would go up and down. And if the gauge goes up and down with a different pump, then you know your sending unit is bad. And these aren't replaceable. Sending unit side of this goes bad as far as the fuel gauge goes. Pump's trash. Pump doesn't pump, trash. If this part, like we saw with ours, is pushing out 100 pounds of fuel pressure, then it's bad. It all gets replaced. There's no serviceable items in here. And if you look in here, I mean, you can replace the regulator if you have this crimp tool, but again, you know, this thing can pump some major pressure, and to me it's just not worth it. Just replace the whole assembly, be done with it. Alright, we're going to go back and install this.
Okay.
Alright, I got to clean this ring. Got a little bit of crud in it. You don't want it going down in the tank. Now we do have our swamp cooler on because we got some vapors going on in the shop and we don't want to go boom. Okay, orientation is imperative. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, sending unit in first, or the float arm. Don't force anything. Now the thing about it, this thing's going to try to push up on you. I do have alignment marks for where things were. So our evap vent, power connector, and then fuel line. Okay, ring on.
You don't want to derust that ring?
No.
Oh. That's good.
Okay, tap, tap, tap. The way you took it off. This is where some people can definitely make mistakes by not getting this ring seated correctly. Tapping around until you get your marks lined up. You'll know you're seated when this thing stops moving. Okay, we are seated. Go around one more time. How you know you're seated, if you look here, there should be a nice good gap. You should not be able to see under the lock here. You can actually see your old rust marks. Just go around and check. Make sure you got an even gap here. And other than that, some of these models you have to disconnect this. This stays up in the chassis, some don't. But you see here, this pushes off and then you just pull that back. This is your fuel pressure into the engine. There is no return loop in a Dodge system. It is 42 to 52 pounds of pressure depending on year built. Most of these aftermarkets are 52 constant. Anything after that, dump back in the tank. And then your power connector with your safety, and other than that, we are ready to install this and retest. What I'm probably going to do, just to make sure that this pump is good before I send it up, I'll actually roll it under the vehicle, we'll hook it back up, we'll turn the key. One thing the instructions said, this thing needs at least 10 gallons of fuel to prime. I'm thinking 50 bucks worth of fuel? Oh man, painful. But I should have enough in here. I mean, a quarter tank of 35. Let's see, a 10 is 3.5, a 20% is 6. So 6, 3, 6.
You'll hear it go.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
You have enough.
I mean, I get the 10 gallons because you need enough in there so the pump is submerged and can return back and fill up the top of the pump.
When you shake it, it's just going to go everywhere anyway, so it's going to be pretty much
yeah, pretty much. Alright, we're going to slide this under, we're going to hook it up and turn the key and check the fuel pressure. Okay, this part you do have to retain off your old pump, and it simply snaps on. This keeps the pressure of the fuel system trying to blow off this line. This clip is here to make sure that when the pressure is applied, that this doesn't fly off. Other than that, this is ready to install. And like I said earlier, we're going to lay it on the ground, we're going to hook everything up and make sure that the pressure's right, because the last thing I want to do is do the entire job, find this pump is garbage. First time I've used a Master Pro, so we'll see how good it is. Other than that, ready to slide it in. Alright, here we go. I'm kind of sad they don't have a strap on this side. So we got okay, so here's what I couldn't show you earlier because we had a bunch of stuff in the way, but this is the safety clip. You have to push that out of the way so it'll actually unclip, and once you put it back in, you pop that over. Now I'm not going to pop this clip till I know this pump is good. And now I've got to find the fuel line. Okay, we're going to put the fuel line on. Line up the clip. I love those magical popping sounds. Alright, so now that we're snapped in, I'm going to turn the key and make sure that this pump works and holds pressure before I send it back up. Alright, we'll get set up for that. Alright, let's key off.
Key off.
Key on.
Key on.
Okay, key off.
Key off.
Key on. It's starting to trickle some juice. Alright, key off. Key on. Key off. Key on. Oh, that's going to be painful in 5-pound increments.
Yeah.
Alright, key off. Key on. Okay, key off. Key on. Okay, key off. Key on. Okay, key off. I can see why the instructions say it's going to take 15 to 25 key tries. Alright, key on. Okay, key off. Okay, key on. Hey.
Something or something.
Yep, she squirted back 50 pounds back in the tank. You heard that. Key off. Key on. So she squirts back at 52. Key off. Okay, key on. Alright, we're going to run this for a short bit. I need to make sure the injectors are bled out, and then we're going to do a pressure hold test. See if our injectors took some damage from 100 psi. Alright, you should fire off. Go!
I hope. Alright, ready?
Go! Well, we might have killed some injectors there. Let's see. Now, I do have to remind you, we did not clear the preset information, so this thing is used to running at -14 trim. Let's see if I can get the code reader on it and see if we're correct. Yeah, we're going to have to reset the battery. Last time we did something fuel-wise, these two numbers were so out of sync, I actually had to reset the saved information. Now we're running lean. I'd like to see this at 0.4. This is after the cat, this is before the cat, so focus on this one because this is the one that came up with the PO138. Yeah, last time I saw something that upset, it wouldn't clear until I did the battery, but we'll see. Yeah, you can see we're starting to correct here, but that probably won't correct until I undo the batteries. Okay, well. Next thing you want to do before you send the tank back up, do a pressure hold test. Go ahead and shut it off. You want to make sure that this is going to hold. Now if you see it drop to 30, that's okay. We don't want to see 20s, 10s, or 0s on the gauge here. So we're going to go eat some dinner, come back and see if this is holding. This is going to tell me if my fuel injectors are good without actually having to pop a rail. Because with the new pressure regulator, the only thing that can leak now, unless the regulator's bad, is the injectors. You'll know because you'll start up and you'll have brown smoke come right out the back. I've only seen that once with these Magnums, but anything's possible. Alright, back with you in a bit.